Hi, I'm Alan from InterviewSuccessFormula.com. I want to share with you today some of the most effective techniques that I know to land a job offer. Now, just to warn you, these are not some simple gimmicks that require no effort on your part. So if that's what you're looking for, there's no point to keep listening. For this, you're going to have to put in some serious time and effort to make it happen. Yet at the end, you'll know the organization, be ready for the interview and taking it to a level that you've never really seen before, and build trust and credibility with the organization. All right, so let's dive in here. The first thing I want to talk about is how to know the organization inside and out. I mean, you really want to be a serious expert. If I could, and I was interviewing for that job, I'd want to know as much or more than my interviewers, that level of expertise. So what would I want to know about the organization? First, I want to learn what the culture is like, what the people there care about, how they work together as a team, what makes the organization unique, and what kind of results they deliver. What are their strengths and what are their weaknesses? I basically want to feel for what it's like to work there and what they're good at and how I can make that happen. There's also some real basics that you want to know, like how big an organization is. I mean, how many people they serve or customers they have, how many employees work there, how many offices, how much revenue they make, or if it's a nonprofit, how big a budget they have, and their reputation in the space. Once you have that information, you could then also look at the me part of it. What are the reasons that I would be excited about working there? And what are the ways that I can help them be successful? All right, so how would I go about getting this information that I want to know? Well, I would read everything I possibly can. I mean, their website, their social media pages like Twitter, Facebook, Google+, LinkedIn, Pinterest, anything that's out there. I go to their homepage and look for their press releases, their newsletters, any other content just to become familiar. And of course, I'd see what could come up on Google News or Google Scholar that's related to the organization. But then from there, I'd really want to move into a much more important channel, and that's talking to people who've dealt with the organization in a bunch of different roles. The first group is talking to employees. See, first I want to talk with the people who work there or used to work there because they can tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly, and really just feed me with fodder for why I would want to be part of that team. Now, how do I find those people? Well, the easiest place to start is using social media tools like LinkedIn or Facebook. Now, you may just strike the jackpot, using those tools. You may just see the person that you want on LinkedIn, and if you do happen to find that situation, then you want to do everything that you can to connect with those people, especially if there's someone in common that someone who knows someone who knows someone. Yet if that doesn't work out and I really want that job, I wouldn't just stop there with LinkedIn. I'll reach out to my friends and family and anyone I know to see if they know someone who's worked there. Even past employees are great. They can tell you the dirt that current workers won't. So I would do something as crazy as post a $100 reward on Facebook to my friends and family if they could introduce me to anyone who works there. I mean, do anything I can just to make those real personal connections. I'd reach out to local professional associations that they may be a part of. I'd even ask leaders of other groups I'm a part of who they know. If I'm part of a religious group or a sports league or a community service organization, they may know somebody who knows somebody. When I did connect with these people, I'd ask them lots of questions. These would range from the best parts of working there to the questions that they faced in the interview. I mean, this is a real opportunity to get the insider's look at what's going on, so I'd want to take full advantage of it. I'd also want to talk to their customers. If I were a teacher, I'd want to talk to students at the school and even the parents of those students, patients in a medical practice, the customers at a store. And to find these people, I'd use all the tactics that I just previously mentioned to you about finding employees. I want to find people who really know the place and can teach me what it's all about. And I ask them very similar questions to those before, except I'd also ask about what their experience was dealing with the people there. In addition to the employees and the customers, there are probably other stakeholders who know about the organization. Well, like who else? Like the board members in a nonprofit, or a salesperson who provides services to this organization. If you were looking at a hospital trying to work on a floor, maybe there were medical students who rotated through at some point. Or you might even know somebody who works for a competitor for this organization who can give you some dirt. I mean, really what you want to know is just everything you can that's there. Now, one other benefit of talking with all these people about the organization is you can really show your enthusiasm. And this enthusiasm can then lead to references. Specifically, you can ask these folks for letters of recommendation. I'll get back into that in a minute here. Basically, by the time I'm done, I would love to know exactly why I would enjoy my work at this organization, what projects I could contribute to or would even volunteer to be a part of, and ideas to make the organization better. I would also want to know how the organization's mission fits my personal goals and values and what I care about. My goal is to create a lot of alignment between the organization and myself and what I have to offer. All right, so I know the organization, I know the people, I know what they care about. The next thing I really need to know is the business that they're in, the products that they use, the tools that they have available. And to do this, I'm going to study. I really want to understand the principles and science behind what they do, the new trends that are coming out in the field, anything else that's coming out. I mean, that could be understanding a school district's new policy on standardized tests, or reading about new dental picks, or reviewing the financial concepts that could be behind hedge fund strategies. My goal at the end of all this is that I would want to have an ability to walk into the interview with, let's say, the CEO of a company or the director of a nonprofit or even the chairman of a board and be able to hold my own in a conversation because I know the basics and the knowledge because I studied that hard to know it. All right, so that's the background information that I want to have. Now let's talk about how you build trust and credibility. These are really big pieces for getting a job offer because they're people who've never met you before or maybe have a limited interaction with you, who you now need to prove to bring you on to work with you on a daily basis for an extended period of time. And that takes trust in your abilities. Now, that's not always easy to do. An interview is a big thing that can help with this, yet there are other ways you can build your case. First, as I mentioned a minute ago, all of the people that I spoke with in learning about the organization, if I knew any of them reasonably well, I'd ask them to give me a recommendation. They can make a phone call, write a note, send an email. Just somehow, without the organization reaching out to them, send something over that says they believe in me and my abilities, and they know that I'm really passionate about the job. The more hands that are, raised in your corner fighting for your cause, the better off you'll be. Of course, I'd want to speak my references too. I tell them exactly why I'm excited about this job, remind them about my own accomplishments that are relevant to this position, and make sure that when they're asked, they can deliver a 10 out of 10 for my recommendations. If it seems like they're hesitant to give you a recommendation, I look for other people to be my references. I really want to build a strong case in my corner. In addition, depending on my field, I love to have a portfolio to present, some sort of examples of my past work that I can bring out during my interview upon request that are further evidence of my value, really as much proof as I can bring to the table. Now, in preparing for an interview for this job, I wouldn't just want to wait until the day before the interview to get ready. I'd spend weeks or as much time as I possibly could. The first thing that I want to do is brainstorm a list of critical questions, and then I'd craft my answer to them very carefully. I'd write them, and then I'd rewrite them, and I'd use whatever tools I could to make sure that my answers are really strong and sharp. Then I'd practice a lot. I'd ask friends and family to give me mock interviews and even to give me feedback. My goal is that by the end of it, I know what I'm saying inside and out. You could wake me from a dead sleep in the middle of the night, and I wouldn't be able to know my own name. But if you asked me one of these questions, I'd be ready with the answer. That's the level of expertise that I'm looking for. I'd also want to research my interviewers too, if I knew who they were. I can always ask the organization as well who the person is that I'm going to be interviewing with. And I can get to know this person and what they care about, and any areas of commonality between us. And finding these commonalities and common threads can really create a more meaningful conversation more quickly. It's like when you're introduced at a cocktail hour or something like that, and someone tells critical details that just start the conversation a lot faster. It's that kind of information that I want to have to make the interview work better. And of course, after the interview, I'd obviously send a thank you note to each person, but I want to make sure that each thank you note is individualized per person. It recognizes what we spoke about and the connections that we made. If we discussed any topics that seemed of special interest, I'd even go as far as to dig up an article that would continue the conversation and show that I paid attention, really show that I cared. And of course, if I didn't hear back, I'd follow up within a week or two. I wouldn't try to repitch them on how great I am. I just follow up and remind them that I'm interested and to find out what the next steps are, just to show how much I cared about the job.